It's hashtag Stop Galamsey now, and tonight, President Akufo-Addo's call on organized labor for more time faces fierce rejection from labor as they insist there is no time for the president to take decision on their demand for immediate declaration of state of emergency on all mining activities in Ghana.
Unfortunately, we do not think that we have much time on our side. The good news that the president at least is ready to do something about our demand. Unfortunately, I do not think that we have that much time on our hands. Our resolve as USAC and what our demands were, we'll go into this meeting on Monday with those marching orders that have been given to us by our members.
But on a raging debate about government's attempt to deploy a divide and rule tactics to break labor's front on the matter, we ask, how firm can organized labor stand to get their issues to be resolved? We'll hear from labor experts on this particular matter. Now, Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Now, tonight, more labor unions are registering fierce rejection to President Akufo-Addo's plea for more time to take a decision on organized labor's demand for a state of emergency to be declared on Galamsey. The surge in illegal mining and the destruction of water bodies and forests has compelled the three labor unions under the Trade Union Congress, TUC, Federation of Labor, and the Forum for Public Sector Associations and Unions to declare a nationwide strike in 6 days. Already, government has begun some consultations as the president met some leaders of organized labor on Thursday and pleaded with them to reconsider their decision to shut down the country. First, listen to the Deputy Secretary General of the Ghana Federation of Labor, Kenneth Kumsin, on what was arrived at the meeting with the president yesterday.
Government agreed to respond officially to the demands that we have made. In fact, government agreed that the LI 2462 was going to be revoked. Parliament, when it reconvenes, steps were going to be taken to ensure that the LI 2462, which is one of the demands, is revoked. There are other things that were said there, but we said, look, we cannot rely on verbal or viva voce confession. We need government to officially write and then make these things official.
Well, some other unions, including NAGRAT, have expressed surprise at this particular meeting between the president and some leaders of organized labor, as they say they have not been informed, raising questions about a potential government attempt to break the front of organized labor and get them to back down on their cause. We can now listen to convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, Dr. Kenneth Ashibe, who says the repeal of the LI is welcomed, but called on organized labor to stick to the plan to strike if the other demands are not met.
It's not as if they will have to tell us. We will see the result. But 14,000 to 9,000, we are still in crisis. Well, you see, the interesting thing is that whether I believe we will do it or not. The thing about it is that if you go into our constitution, sovereignty resides to the people. So if you and I, the media, will mobilize the whole of Ghana, as the Catholic Church is doing on the 11th of October.
Yesterday, in that meeting with organized labor, organized labor said that the president had actually agreed to repeal that LI. I'm asking if that's also a show of commitment to responding to the agreement.
It's one of the things that have been asked by organized labor, that has been asked by the media coalition as well. So that's a good thing to happen. There are some of the suggestions that we've heard from the Attorney General and then also the Chief Justice. Those are good things to happen. But there are other items in that thing. The need for the state of emergency so that we can stop what it is that is happening. It's also very critical. So that definitely is, we would want to see what actions are being taken to do to replace that LI and then get it revoked. The good thing is that organized labor is still counting down to the 10th of October, with the support of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, that includes Organized Labor and the Media Coalition and all. What we are waiting for is the President's official response to the demands that have been placed before him. And as Organized Labor has told us, as the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, it will be considered again by Organized Labor their side to find out whether it answers the demands that we have to save all of us as people who are being poisoned.
So that's Dr. Kenneth Ashibe, who is convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. Let's go onto the phone lines now and bring in some more reactions. First off is Professor Mamudu Akudugu, who is National President of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. Prof, I'm grateful to you for joining us. First of all, was UTAG, invited to this meeting, first of all, and were you able to attend?
Good evening to you and to your listeners. Unfortunately, we couldn't attend. The notice of the meeting was really not made known early enough, and so we couldn't attend the meeting.
But did you get the invitation to be part of this meeting?
No, please.
Okay. Now, you heard from a rep of the Federation of Labor who said the president was asking for more time, and indeed that's what the request is, that give him more time to try and attend to the issue. He's even agreed that there should be a repeal of that LI that gives people to then go into the forest to do mining. Do you have that time to give the president?
Unfortunately, I don't think that we have that time. When we made the demands, that was last month, I think around, let's say, around 11th of last month. We were never asked for more time. And so we are here where we are, and then we are being asked for more. I don't know how much time is more time. When the distractions are ongoing and things are getting bad, so we should continue to be buying time.
But if that is what would get the president to act and get you to get what you need, why don't you consider it?
Well, as I said, we don't even know how much time is being asked for. So what is how much time is more time that the president wants? So until we know how much time he's asking for, we will not be able to say concretely whether the demand or that appeal or request is realistic or not. We are doesn't stop or is not. It's as simple as that. So repealing is a second, what you call the second layer, but we have to act first.
Well, I mean, we've seen the letter by organized labor. I'm sure you will be there. What should we expect of this meeting come Monday?
Well, I think that organized labor is very clear in their demands, and where I sit and stand, we believe that on Monday when we go for that meeting, we'll simply reiterate our demands and the timelines given. And hopefully, maybe, who knows, Monday before the meeting, maybe something concrete from the presidency may happen, and the situation could change. Otherwise, if it is just about this repeal of the law and asking for more time, well, we'll get there and see what happens.
Prof, do stay with me. Let me bring in Senor Ejaben, who is labor expert, joining us here. Senor, I'm grateful to you for joining. Now, there's already concerns over government's attempt to break the front of labor to get them to back down on their intended strike, especially with the meeting that happened yesterday. Of course, some other people have described it as coming to them as a surprise. Is this something that can be ruled out in terms of the government's attempt to break the front of labor?
Thank you very much. Good evening. I think that we need to understand that organized labor is an institution. It's a machinery, and that is why normally they are very slow to declare such action, because the process of receding that or coming away from that becomes more difficult than the declaration. So currently what is going on is a number of consultations leading to a possible actual strike action that has been declared, or the effects of it. So what I can say is that it cannot be ruled out. It cannot be stopped. It is a buzz that has gained momentum. Remember, there are lots of forces behind the organized labor beyond just the collective unions that are involved in organized labor. So this is bigger actually than organized labor, except they are leading it. So it cannot be ruled out at all. We expect that such meetings and consultations and discussions are going to continue until we get to the 10th and the real action begins. So we are not surprised about what is going on at all.
So I mean, I wanted to understand that is the thought by some people that this could be an attempt by the government to break the front of organized labor, to get them to back down on this particular demand of theirs. Is this something that is a likelihood?
Well, I am quite sure. I would not believe that government would deliberately want to do this. I wouldn't, because assuming that is what they want to do and the other party finds out, then it is going to worsen the situation. What I believe is that an emergency meeting was called and not all the relevant parties belonging to organized labor were able to attend. That is how I would want to see it. But
some say that it came to them as a surprise. I mean, I listened to NAGRAT President Angel Carboni yesterday, who was utterly surprised by this particular meeting. So if a meeting is called with the president and leadership of organized labor, and the president of a union like NAGRAT is not aware, I mean, would you take out that particular, chances of the thought of trying to break the front of labor?
Well, we don't have all the information, but it would be very unfortunate if that is what is being attempted. But I, as a process watcher, don't want to believe that is where government would want to go,
Okay.
but would want to meet the organized labor, the other party, and try to negotiate their way out. But if a few unions are surprised that they were not told about the meeting and so on, maybe it can be explained. Maybe we cannot also doubt whatever they are saying. But all things being equal, it is in the party's interest, especially on the part of government, to ensure that they negotiate themselves out of this situation and try to avoid the strike action using, dialogue and other meaningful ways to make it happen.
So from where you sit, the presidency acted right to call that meeting, right?
Yes, because it's expected. They have to be able to consult the other party, the organized labor. And if how they did it created problems, if they didn't follow protocol and so on and so forth, that is another discussion we can have. But the bottom line is that government has to do something now before the 10th comes.
And if you say government has to do something else, what do you think government should do? Because president says, I will repeal the LI. That gives opportunity for companies to go and mine in forest reserves. What else do you think government should do to try and ensure that this intended strike does not happen?
Well, unfortunately, to repeal the law does not solve the need, because the requests that the demands that have been made are specific, and that has to be what is on the negotiation table. Going around it to try to resolve the matter in their own way may not be the right decision. For me, at this time, they need a forum to sit and discuss the issue and agree on an approach to make the problem end, the problem of galamsey end. That is convincing not only to organized labor but the whole country. So this is national. It should be approached as such, other than dealing with the issue of the demands of organized labor. It has to be looked more inclusively, so that the problems can be resolved and the end can be had. But this is a national issue.
But what if the security apparatus, because the president takes decisions based on the advice he gets from the people around him, what if the people who really understand security think that it is not, we are not at a point where declaring a state of emergency is the way to go? What should he do?
Well, unfortunately, democracy is for the people, isn't it? So the voice of the people really take precedence over everything. So if that is what the people want, and indeed it's not an illegal, then it has to be considered.
Okay.
And indeed, this is something personally I believe has to be considered without any further debate because of the seriousness of the. But if it's going to be dealt with, I thought it is one of the other issues we have in the country to resolve without urgency, then there's going to be a problem, because I do not see organized labor backing down from their demands, no matter what happens. And once they have declared a strike action, it will take another vote, it will take another process to have them recall it. And that is where once it's been declared, it's going to go through.
Will you then be surprised if after their meeting on Monday, because we understand they will be meeting, leadership will be meeting on Monday to look at the aftermath of this meeting between the president and themselves. So will you be surprised if organized labor, come out to say they've softened their stance, they are giving the president some time?
Yes, indeed, I'll be surprised. Because for that to happen, then organized labor has to come and convince the entire country and the CSOs and all the other bodies that are behind this call that they have a credible feedback from the president or the government, central government, and that feedback is convincing enough for them to back down. But I do not believe that they will come back and participate. I will really, really support them.
All right. Okay. Senor, I'm grateful to you for getting time for us here on Top Story. Professor Mamudu, let me come back to you. We understand there is a process to take votes of members on the various campuses. How is that going?
Yeah, so far so good. A couple of the few campuses have started voting already. We've gotten some results, very overwhelming endorsement, and we believe that by the 8th, that's Tuesday, all campuses would have voted, and the results will be made public.
Okay, so it means that, membership of UTAG wants this strike to come off.
Well, as I said, the results that we have seen so far, we have over 80% of members in favor of this strike if no action is taken.
Interesting. Okay, Prof, I'm grateful to you, but for speaking to us here. This is still Top Story. In a related development, the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Ofosu Asamoah, has pointed fingers at chiefs, district chief executives, and the National Investigative Bureau for their failure to effectively combat illegal mining, galamsey. According to him, the responsibility should not rest solely on the shoulders of the president to fight the menace, but on the shoulders of all of these people, district chief executives, chiefs, National Investigative Bureau, and all stakeholders. Now, speaking to Joy News, Ms. Ofosu Asamoah also raised concerns about the whereabouts of drones purchased in 2018 for $3 million, which were meant to aid in tackling the galamsey menace.
I fail to blame everybody says politicians. When it comes to the mining, where is it done? It's done in the villages, our own backyards. The chiefs, if you are the chief of a village and the excavators are coming there and people are mining this champagne and so on, don't they see it? District chief executives. I know that some drones were imported into this country and given to the various district assemblies. And with the drone pilot can tell what is going on anywhere. Are they seeing? Are they not the head of security in that area? What are they doing? So in the areas where galamsey is going on, what have the chiefs done? What have the district chief executives who are supposed to be the head of security in those areas, who have the power to use the police, and because they are the head of security in that area, they have the drones. And in every district there's a BNI officer, now called NIB. What investigation have they been doing? And the so-called the youth groups, you come, this youth association, Concerned Citizens Association, the local council of churches. What do they do? And everybody sits here and say, the president, how can the president has appointed people to work?
This is still Top Story. Now, let's turn our attention to the protests that happened today. And protesters are the day 2 of the anti-galamsey protest organized by the Concerned Citizens Against Galamsey have accused the police of bias after they allowed a group alleged to be part of the chief imam's convoy to disrupt a police barricade at Nema without any of them being arrested. Some of the participants who spoke to the media expressed their disappointment in the police for arresting some of the Democracy Hub demonstrators for a similar happening the other time.
They took away the barricades. They threw them away. We didn't arrest anybody. They paid you people to arrest those people protesting against galamsey. They paid you people. We saw it. They didn't arrest anyone. They are not arresting. How can you people be like this? It is sad. It is very sad. No Kabahoka, Kurano, no Maxino. The same reason why our friends are behind us. People need the same thing and they are working freely. As policemen, people fair.
So those were some of the protesters who were reacting on this incident to the media. Let me bring in Kenneth Jesse, who's been covering this particular demonstration for us the whole of the day. Kenneth, so run us through, how was the demonstration today?
Well, it was a peaceful demonstration just like it was the day before, but the only difference is that took longer time to get to the final destinations. That's the Accra Sports Stadium car park than they did yesterday, because there were a lot of breaks there. And with the incident that happened, it took about 10 minutes at the Kaukudi when the youth were being prevented by the police barricade from crossing, and of course they had to push a few of the barricades down, but the police did not react because they felt overpowered, and you got some of the protesters expressing worry why the police failed to react. But aside that, though, it was a peaceful protest which started from the Legon Stadium around 10 a.m. The original time to start was at 9 a.m., but the organizers decided to start marching at 10 a.m. Spent quite a number of time passing through many principal streets of the capital, from Airport Junction through to the National Secretariat office, through to major streets across the capital, and finally we got to the Accra Sports Stadium car park, where they presented a petition to the Land and Natural Resources Ministry, which was received on behalf of the minister by the Mines Directorate or Director at the ministry, that is Peter Ewua, and among their demands is an end to illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey, and also urging the minister to convince the president to revoke the LI 2462, which allows mining in forest reserves. They want that also to be banned as well. They want the revocation of that, and then the ban on illegal mining as soon as possible. Of course, Peter Ewua received that on behalf of the minister and assure them that he's only a messenger and will convey the message and give the letter officially to the minister when he gets back to the office.
On that incident, though, has the police been given any explanation as to what really happened and why that reaction?
Of course, we know that the police does not officially speak unless they release a press statement, although with the previous protest we saw them hold a few press conferences here and there. But from yesterday and today, we've not seen any press conference being held by the police. So officially, they have not communicated anything of that sort to us.
But I mean, did you see the chief imam around the area? Because we understand these youth were with him.
Well, I did not see anything like that, and even if he was part, it's going to be very difficult for me to see because there was a lot of cars and a lot of motorbikes, so you really don't know who is in what car,
okay,
or who is on which motorbike.
Okay. So once today has ended, what's the plan for tomorrow?
Well, the plan for tomorrow is that they're going to start from the Legon Stadium, as we always have been for the past 2 days, and end at the Accra Sports Stadium. But with tomorrow being the last day, they're going to hold a vigil for the 53 remanded galamsey protesters. They hope to end that vigil by 12 a.m. tomorrow. And then they will present a petition before that to the House of Parliament, also tabling their demands, which is the abolishment of illegal mining and then mining in our forest reserve. So tomorrow, they're going to present a petition to the House of Parliament, just like they presented a petition today to the Land and Natural Resources Minister, and did same yesterday to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. So that's the itinerary lined up for tomorrow.
That's Kenneth Jesse, our reporter there. Now, that's how we wrap up on Top Story today. It was brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Up next is Ghana Connect with Kwekwa Sante. Kwekwa, what's coming up today?
Well, so the big issue, as you've discussed on Top Story, organized labor decision to embark on strike. And the seeming cracks emerging in there with people making a lot of comments about whether or not they were consulted or not. Today, I want to ask the ordinary people, do you support any idea of organized labor to embark on a strike? For instance, if you're a patient and you went to the hospital and you were told the doctor is on strike because of illegal mining, what would you say? I mean, there are those who've said it's fighting for a bigger cause. Yeah. Galamsey can kill, but doctors on strike can also kill.
Can kill more.
We are getting into those conversations and asking citizens
discussion.
whether they support that or not. Please.
All right. We'll be following.
Yeah.
There's a